And the next one I wanted to quickly run through, and today's short, so I'll be jumping around pretty quickly. The next one is Navman Wireless. Has anyone ever heard of Navman Wireless? So Navman Wireless is, I mean, you've probably heard of Navman as a product, which is your, little in-car GPS stuff to route you from A to B. So Navman Wireless is the next level, which is more of a corporate type installation, where it connects into the system, like the car or vehicle. It doesn't have to be a car, it can be a tractor, or it can be any sort of type of device that you want to actually track, and will let you know when the vehicle's on, off, idle rates, speeds, how long it's actually been running for. The reason why this is interesting, we've actually got a lot of people that we sell this to install it for. They use it things like to stop personal vehicle use on weekends. You actually can get a report to see how many kilometres have been used on a weekend, or where that actually went. Because if you actually calculate that with a fleet of vehicles, the cost can go quite high. We also use it for timesheets. We actually use it internally for timesheets if we need to understand when I've actually left our office and how long I was on site for. It's just that QA process to actually be able to tell.
Is that similar to what they're using in a lot of the oil and gas industry?
Yeah, exactly what there is. There's a few different players, but Navman have a fairly sort of big footprint in the mining industry with this sort of stuff, and I'll show you what you can do with it.
Belts and all that sort of stuff.
We can almost, there's a lot of third-party applications out there that we can hook into. So it's really, if someone's developed it, it's an on and off button, or it can be a door opening. It doesn't really matter. We can actually get information based on that. Then you get the time, where they were, and all that sort of stuff all logged. Maintenance schedules, so it does tie into that as well. So because it tracks the amount of hours, amount of kilometres a vehicle's done, we can automatically say, yeah, that vehicle actually needs a service every 50,000 Ks or every 100,000 Ks. We're doing this as a trial for a company out in Tara that build roads for coal seam gas, and if you look at the compliance that they need to do, maintenance schedules, and be able to actually report where they were and all that sort of stuff, the workplace health and safety parts of it, it's really sort of ticking some good boxes for them. We can also, like you were sort of highlighting there, we can have a look if a door's been opened. If it's a truck with a cold room, we know how many times the door's been opened and where they were, or if, so there's a lot of all that sort of stuff we can get there. Like I said, the third-party applications for it as well. We've got companies out there developing water flow meters, so you can actually detect if there's water going through. I mean, this is not so much for vehicle tracking, but it's an extension of what the product can do. Put it out in a remote area using satellite technology, it'll actually tell you if the water flow has stopped going through a trough, which means you can make a decision to go out there rather than have to manually go out and check it. Sometimes in the remote areas that can be quite a lot of time saving. We can do temperature sensors, weight recording, remote start and stop. There's a whole wealth of information that we can get either on a stationary, fixed place, or from the vehicle while it's moving.
So it's taking over from the telemetry stuff that we used to have on soil moisture probes and things like that?
There's all sorts of stuff with that, yeah. If you're interested, we can cover it off in more detail. Ties into some of the stuff we were just shown earlier around RFID as well. So what I was going to do is I'll quickly jump into the product and just give you an idea, just so you can see what's real. And again, you can see here, I'm actually using an iPad to present today. It's only the second time I've used an iPad. Yesterday was the first. But I've got the PowerPoint presentation here. I've got this application. It's quite amazing in terms of what I've got. I'll just give myself internet access quickly. 2 seconds. So what this view does here, just to jump back in, so we've got in the fleet that I'm looking at the moment, there's 3 different vehicles there, the blue dots, which is 3 different cars, and if you look on the left hand side, it actually shows which cars they are, the number plate registration details of that one, and what the actual current speeds of them all are, when the last time they reported in. So as you can see, they're all blue, which means I know that none of the cars are actually in use at the moment. But if I look at the car that I'm driving today, which is this guy, you can see exactly where it is, which is just downstairs. If I look at the history of today, in terms of where this one was, hopefully I haven't speeded on the way out here. No, good, okay. So if you look at, reading up from the bottom, if you actually see that this morning I left my house at around 8:18, was at the office at 8:27, the ignition was off. I'm not going to go there. And as you can see, then the ignition went back on at 8:40. You can see most of the way out I was actually stuck behind trucks. It wasn't the fastest run out.
It's every 5 minutes.
It's every 5 minutes. It's actually taking a snapshot by default. It can be changed if you don't have. So this is actually using the Telstra NextG to send the data back. There is a product coming which means if it doesn't have NextG signal, it'll use the Iridium satellite network to actually push it up, because there's lots of areas where we don't have good enough signal, and it'll also store it. So if you don't have anything at the moment, it'll just store it until you get back into an area and then push it up. So.
What about I suppose the accuracy of the GPS, where that car's sitting, what sort of accuracy are you using? Because if you're talking GPS for a vehicle, I don't think we're going to be down to feet or meters. It's going to be in the, I've never actually seen it. My house isn't 9, it's actually 13. It's for some reason, it's a little bit off. But in terms of what you're usually trying to get information-wise out from a vehicle tracking system. It's using Google, yeah, right.
Yeah, I can overlay different views on this. To actually show the actual different maps, but it's using the Google Maps, okay? So that just gives you a bit of an idea of what's available. And Navman Wireless is a whole bigger product than just that, but and we can go through more individually, or there's actually some information over there, okay?